All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Monday afternoon, lunchtime edition of Knicks Fan TV Live. CP the Fanchise in the building. Free agency eve. Well, we are on the day of free agency, but we're going to do a little free agency preview show. I got my guy Yossi Gozlan, resident capologist, on the way. Knicks making some early free agency moves, some early chess pieces being moved by Leon Rose, Brock Aller and company. We'll talk about that and what it means for the Knicks free agency pursuits, plus the Knicks head coaching update. What is going on? Who is going to be the coach of the New York Knicks? And what is LeBron James up to? Of course, LeBron can't stay out of the spotlight. We're going to talk about LeBron's latest move and what it could mean for the New York Knicks. So lock in, hit me up on the KFTV Discord, call me up on the KFTV Discord, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to our loyal Fanchise channel members. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And here we go, man. Beautiful summer day here in New York. And kicking it off for free agency. Who's going to be the newest member of the New York Knicks? All right, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the coaching search. But first, I want to make a big announcement regarding KnicksFanTV.com. If you head over to KnicksFanTV.com between now and July 4th, you get 30% off site-wide. It is our biggest sale of the year. Our 4th of July sale. Go to KnicksFanTV.com. No code needed. Just go make your purchase. We're also offering free shipping for purchases $100 and up. So now's your time to stack up on your hoodies, your hats. We got the dad hat. Right now, I'm rocking my Once a Knick, Always a Knick mural t-shirt. This is getting a lot of reviews as I go out there on the streets this weekend. You got the Against All Odds hats, your snaps. I got the white and the blue behind me. 30% off site-wide. So make sure you go to KnicksFanTV.com and get your merch today. Okay, quick update on the Knicks coaching search. As we put out there, as was reported by Knicks Fan TV, it looks like we could be headed towards the finish line here. Both Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown are headed for their second round of interviews this week. Last week they were in. We had James Borrego come in for an interview, Mike Nori as well. So we're being told that Jenkins and Brown are coming in for their second round of interviews. Nori is still in the process, from what we're told. He's not necessarily out just yet. But one interesting name that was mentioned in the Knicks coaching search was one Dawn Staley, the University of South Carolina women Gamecocks head coach. Now, I'm being told that Staley is not in the running at the moment, but as part of the Knicks' due diligence, turning over every stone, talking to different coaching candidates, they did speak to her about the job. As we know, Dawn Staley has a relationship with the Brunsons, with Jalen, and with Rick, going back to the Temple days when both Dawn Staley and Rick have their alliances with Temple. Rick having played there, Dawn Staley as well. So they have that Philadelphia connection. So it looks like it could be coming down to Jenkins and Brown. Who's in the lead right now? Honestly, I'm not so sure. Sometimes I'm hearing it's Jenkins, sometimes I'm hearing it's Brown. We'll have to wait and see how this thing goes down. Now, Jason Kidd, as we mentioned, Nico Harrison, we played the soundbite. Nico saying Kidd's not going anywhere, but according to Steve Popper of Newsday, the Kidd thing is still a possibility just because his contract extension has not. Oh, I got Yossi's thing on there. Oh, sorry. But just because his contract extension has not been immediately applied or agreed to, rather, with the with the Dallas Mavericks. So Steve Popper saying that Jason Kidd is still a possibility, but I'm not so sure. We'll have to wait and see what happens there once it's announced. But listen, man, free agency's here. Free agency starting today. And as of today, the New York Knicks do not have a head coach. So let's see how this thing all plays out. Okay, so there that is. That is the update on the coaching search. Who do you guys want as the next head coach of the New York Knicks. What do you guys think, man? Jason Marrero, definitely appreciate the heads up. We got that overlay fixed there. Carpet Bag says, give me Dawn Staley. She knows ball. Okay, so he's in it. He wants Dawn Staley. Okay. People asking for Mark Jackson. No, Mark Jackson's not going to be the coach of the Knicks. We already told you Mike Malone is not under any consideration whatsoever. The Knicks do not want to hire Mike Malone. So I think it's going to come down to Jenkins and Mike Brown. I really do think it's going to come down to Jenkins and Mike Brown. So let's see. Now, in other news, as we bring in our guy, Yossi Gozlan, resident capologist, you can catch him on the Third Apron newsletter. Catch him on Twitter. He's a busy man. He's breaking down every single free agency transaction that has gone down so far, with a lot of teams re-signing their existing players. Now, the Knicks re-signing some players here. They made a move. They picked up the team option for Ariel Hukporti, and they declined the team option for PJ Tucker, and they also picked up their qualifying offer for Kevin McCullar Jr. So let's start with Yossi, welcome to the show, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, CP. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So let's start with PJ Tucker and Hukporti, man. What does that mean for the Knicks cap sheet going forward?
So Hukporti had that team option that they gave to him last offseason, and essentially they gave the Knicks some optionality where they can either just opt him in, decline it, if he's not doing well, just let him go, or what was probably the most conceivable plan at the time was that you decline it and then you give him a new long-term deal. The thing with that, though, is that he'd be making a little bit more because his minimum for this year as a free agent would be a tiny bit more than what he's currently making. And given that the Knicks are trying to save every last $10,000, $100,000, it matters right now with the Knicks, what they're dealing with right now. So they just went ahead and opted him in, and he could still be restricted next year. With PJ Tucker, he had a $3.5 million team option, and it was non-guaranteed. So if they picked it up, then he still could get waived after, and the Knicks would be off the hook. So I guess that them just declining him now and making him a free agent and not keeping that optionality for a trade just signals that they don't really have too much lined up right now to do anything so significant where they need it. And it's not a big deal because assuming they keep their top 6 guys, they'll only have the flexibility to stay within the second apron while using that tax mid-level, that $5.7 million. Or maybe they could sign and trade Tucker or Achua and bring back a player under contract making just as much. So they still have the optionality to do something with Tucker and a sign and trade. So we'll see. But right now, with how things stand, unless some of these trade rumors going around with the Knicks are true, probably quieter offseason where they just bring in some minimum guys and maybe like a $5-ish million player.
Yeah, that's how I'm seeing this playing out, man. I think this is going to be a relatively quiet one where their moves are going to be primarily on the margins with these vet minimum contracts. Now, let's talk about where they stand with respect to the second apron, right? Because they do have, as a first apron team, they do have the taxpayer mid-level exception, which is worth $5.7 million. So let's talk about what they could do with that, but what the ramifications would be if they use that money.
So that amount it's starting at 5.7, can run for up to 2 years. The second year is like just a little bit higher. And if the Knicks use it, they are hard capped to the second apron, which they're not really expected to exceed anyways, that $207.8 million amount. Where things stand right now, they're about $11.5 million below it, and they still need to fill up 4 roster spots. So a minimum salary is about $2.5 or $2.3 million. So that already going to take up a big chunk of that when you factor in bringing in 3 guys. So the tax pyramid level just fits perfectly with what they've got going on. Now, unlike the other mid-level exceptions, like the bigger mid-level, the room mid-level, the taxpayer can't be used for trades. They can't use it to absorb somebody making less than it. So if they're going to bring in somebody making $5 million who's not a free agent, most likely comes through sign and trading Achua or Tucker. They have a lot of free agents they could sign and trade to make that happen.
Right, and so that's basically with the money that they freed up with PJ, it would allow them to kind of sign, if they wanted to sign and trade for someone who was making around that, they could do so, right? But just correct me if I'm wrong, but if they do so, they would still trigger the second apron, correct?
Correct. Yeah, sign and trading your own free agents, even just to bring back players under contract. That's a second apron hard cap. They could sign and trade their free agents just to bring back like draft picks, cash, stuff like that. That wouldn't hard cap them. But in all likelihood, they're not going to want to go over the second apron anyways, because they probably will starting next year. Best to delay that as much as possible.
As much as possible, right? Because, I mean, just outline some of the restrictions for the people at home, just to educate the people, just some of the restrictions when you become a second apron team and why a lot of teams are not trying to do that right now. It's only Cleveland and the Phoenix Suns that are in that territory at the moment.
Yeah, so second apron teams, it's just Cleveland Suns at the moment. They are not allowed to increase their payroll in trades. They have to do 100% match. Same thing with first apron. However, they can't aggregate salaries in trades. They can't combine players to get a more expensive one. So the Knicks can aggregate, but they still have to do 100% match. Second apron teams have no form of the mid-level. They can't trade cash in trades. They can't. But no apron team can sign and trade for free agents. Second apron teams can't sign and trade their free agents to get players back. So as a first apron team, the Knicks can do that. And then neither aprons, teams above either apron cannot use trade exceptions from last year. But the bigger thing is when you're in the second apron, you are very deep in the tax. It's going to be very expensive, and the Knicks have shown a willingness to spend these past few years, but the tax payments aren't that big. We're talking like 30-40 million. That's pretty modest nowadays. Next year, assuming Mikal Bridges extends, they could be looking at a tax penalty like getting close to 100 million or so. In that case, so that's the thing. Like, it's not that they don't want to spend it, but if you want to extend this window as long as possible, you gotta be realistic about it. Try to delay spending as much money as you can, and that's a big thing that Jalen Brunson helped with. If he hadn't taken that max extension, he'd be looking at re-signing for the max right now, and the Knicks would be above the second apron, paying a lot more money. That might take a year away from the Knicks' total window in the future.
Yeah, there you go, man. So have to be very careful with how they navigate the second apron. For the people at home, if you want to talk to Yossi, ask him about free agency moves, salary cap questions, call us up on the KFTV Discord. So to all of our Fanchise channel members, we got 1,000 people here on the check-in, man. So we got a lot of Knicks fans, Yossi, hoping that these Knicks can improve the team at some point in free agency. Free agency starting at 6 p.m. tonight, so make sure you guys keep it locked. Make sure you guys are following Yossi for all salary cap related breakdowns as it relates to NBA free agency. Okay, the McCullers pickup. Now they did pick him up last year in the second round. They picked up, he was a restricted free agent at this point because of the two-way contract. They've now picked up that qualifying offer. What does it mean for McCullers? Could he potentially be getting one of these minimum contracts while they use the two ways on other players? What do you think about that?
It's possible. I think they're mainly looking at bringing him back at a two-way though. I don't think there's too much of an advantage to just lock him in at a minimum salary now. I think they're going to try to see what veterans they can get right now. Mm-hmm. So the biggest difference is that they're going into this offseason not needing to rearrange their core. They're going to prioritize looking at the bench, in which case now there should be more free agents like in line hoping to get one of those spots. So I think they're going to prioritize trying to get some veterans first.
Yeah.
I would guess McCullar just comes back on the two-way.
Yeah, look, I think, he's still on a prove it. He's been rehabbing and recovering from that ACL injury. They started him off slowly through the G League. He showed a little bit of promise here and there. Looks like a scrappy two-guard. He did get a chance to play with the main ball club over in April when they brought him up. And so he showed a little bit. We'll see what the next coach has in store for him, but he's going to be due to have a big summer league, and we'll see if he can claim one of those roster spots with a big summer league or if they put him on a two-way deal. A guy who did impress was Hukporti, whose option they picked up. I thought Hukporti had some good flashes with this team in the moments that he played. And look, you never know what could happen with the Knicks. I think a lot of people expect Precious Achiuwa to be gone. It's not clear what happens with Mitchell Robinson in terms of will they give him a contract extension or play it out. So Hukporti right now stands to benefit by being one of the backup bigs or maybe the backup four come next season. He played well in the pick and roll, showed some good energy, showed some good shot blocking chops, needs to work on his defense overall. But, Hukporti came on the scene and surprised some people, man. So hopefully he makes another step up in Summer League and beyond.
Yeah, I think he fits what the Knicks are going for more than Achiuwa. It doesn't seem like Achiuwa is going to come back. I think they're going to try to use his salary for sign-in trades. They could get a lot done with Achiuwa's amount. So, yeah, I think that he has a good chance. And maybe they bring in James Najee. He's another big man they could bring in to be their fourth big. So if Hukporti could at least be a serviceable third big, then you can bring in Najee, get him at a discounted minimum, and that would help the Knicks maybe open up a little more room for maybe give him a little more flexibility down the line, middle of the season, around the trade deadline. Maybe that could help make a difference for a certain move.
Yeah, for sure, man. Okay, so that is what the Knicks were able to do at the moment, just based on what teams are able to do with their own free agents before free agency officially kicks off, which is today at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Now, let's go into a couple of hypotheticals here. Just yesterday, our guy, Ian Begley, resident Knicks insider for SNY, he has a name who he's keeping an eye out on as it relates to free agency tonight. Let's hear it. Here's our guy, Ian Begley, on who that is, and let's talk about it. Here we go.
Who are some realistic targets for the Knicks?
The Knicks, you look at what they have, Eamon. They have this $5 million exception to offer free agents. They also have the veterans minimum exception. So they have some tools to go out there and talk to free agents with. And I think Tyus Jones is a name that I'm keeping an eye on because last summer there was mutual interest between the Knicks and Jones was even willing to take a pay cut to come to New York. He ended up choosing Phoenix, thinking it would be a very good situation for him. Didn't work out, so he's back on the market. I do think the Knicks will take a look at the backup guard market there on free agency.
Who are some...
All right, so that was Ian Begley, courtesy of SNY. Tyus Jones. What do you think, Yossi? Based on what we've seen so far in terms of teams re-signing their own guys in the point guard market, what do you think about Tyus Jones, man?
I think we talked about Tyus Jones briefly, and it would make even more sense if they end up getting Taylor Jenkins, who Tyus Jones has played the best under in his career, really thrived there. I would love Tyus Jones at the tax mid-level. I think that's a home run signing. I don't think the Knicks might be able to do much better than that. I know Mark Stein's reporting that the Magic are trying to pursue him, so the thing is the Knicks might have a little bit of a challenge there, where the Magic could open up more money. They could offer him more of the mid-level. So I guess it might kind of come down the role, and we saw Tyus Jones. I think it sounds like he took less money. Maybe he could have gotten more money before he took that minimum deal with the Suns. Was looking for opportunity. I was talking when I was doing my stream last night. We brought up the Wolves. Maybe that could be a Tyus Jones team. Like they could use another guard, especially if they decide to move on from Conley to save a little bit of money. Maybe they open up the mid-level as well, and that would be a great spot for Tyus Jones to start. So I think that'd be an amazing fit for the Knicks. You couldn't get a better backup point guard. But we'll see. I think there is going to be some competition for him.
Yeah, I agree. We'll have to see how the market plays out there for one Tyus Jones. Now, we have Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype is reporting that Nick Richards could be a person of interest for the New York Knicks. He's expecting the Knicks, the Pacers, and the Lakers to potentially be in on one Nick Richards. He stands at $5 million on his contract this year. What do you think about the market for Nick Richards?
So he just got his salary guarantee. That 5 million got picked up. I think he gets moved now that the Suns they brought in Mark Williams and they drafted Malawak. I don't think they want to keep Richards at 5 million to be a third big. I don't think he'd want that either. So the Knicks, I know that they are a team that has been linked to Nick Richards in the last year. Easily you can bring him in if you don't bring, let's say they don't get Tyus Jones or someone as good with the mid-level, maybe then you could sign and trade Achua to then bring in Nick Richards at that $5 million amount for the year. Just another good serviceable big insurance in case Mitchell Robinson gets hurt.
Yeah, again, could be interesting depending on where the Knicks want to go. They've been linked to Nick Richards quite a bit here. So now if he's at about $5 million and they've already guaranteed, any trade would have to involve, I guess, would it be like a Precious type of sign and trade where they, I guess, motivate Precious to go to Phoenix for the $5 million? Like,
Yeah.
I don't see a sign and trade.
So he couldn't get signed and traded to Phoenix. It'd have to be a third team because they're over the apron. So it'd be like Precious goes to a third team. Maybe the Knicks attach a second to get that team to do that. Only the first year needs to be guaranteed. The Suns just get off Nick Richards' money. They save a bunch of money that way, helps them get below the second apron. And then by signing Achua to like a $5 million salary, then you can match for Nick Richards. So that would be the basic framework of how that could work.
Yeah, the Achua thing is interesting, man, because I almost feel like the Knicks gave him a huge deal with that $6 million because he seems like a vet minimum guy to me. You know what I mean? So it seems like he almost tripled his worth here with the Knicks. Hard to see another team willing to help the Knicks or being incentivized to pay him any more than that.
Well, let me give you another scenario, which I don't think this is going to happen. I would say this has like a 2 or 3% chance of happening. If the Knicks don't care about spending money, they're willing to go above the second apron, they could technically re-sign Precious Achua to like the max. They wouldn't do something like that, but last year the Sixers, they re-signed KJ Martin to a 2-year deal, $8 million a year. Only the first year was guaranteed. The idea was that would give them some extra money to do some trades if needed. Maybe they could turn him into a rotation player or package him, combine him for someone to get their starting four. Didn't end up working out. They ended up, because they struggled, they ended up just dumping him. But that would be something the Knicks could consider, where if they don't get any targets now, maybe they re-sign Achua, give him again like a raise, just reward him just for like, hey, we need just the tradable salary. They did that for him last year. Would they be willing to go over the second apron to start the season just to have that optionality? If you can get him at like an $8-10 million salary, then later in the trade deadline, you could turn him into a more serviceable $8-10 million player. I don't think they're going to do that. It's kind of risky. It might cost them in the end, because if they don't have any opportunities, then they're probably going to have to trade some picks just to get off that money, assuming they want to get below the second apron. But just a possibility. I haven't seen anyone bring it up. It's a very small chance it happens, but it's just another route that the Knicks can go.
Interesting. Okay, so to everybody in the chat, once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. CP the Fanchise, Yossi Gozlan of the Third Apron newsletter in the building. We're up to 1,500 people in the chat. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. Make sure you guys check out Yossi, like I said, at the Third Apron newsletter. He is breaking down every NBA transaction and the salary cap implications. Doing a great job in doing that as well, man. If you guys are new here in the chat, type in hashtag new in the chat, and we will shout you guys out. Okay, we are just breaking down some of the scenarios for the Knicks. Knicks coaching update. Brown and Jenkins seem to be the pace setters here. Who's it going to be? Hopefully we'll have an answer this week or next. And we're breaking down some of the Knicks free agency options, man. Ariel Hukporti's player option, team option has been picked up. PJ Tucker's team option declined. Kevin McCullar's as well has been picked up. Okay, Trey Mann Yossi, Trey Mann. You know, Charlotte has picked up some guys. They picked up Colin Sexton in a weird trade with the with the Utah Jazz between Sexton and Nurkic. But it looks like Trey Mann is going to be on the free agent block here. 14 points per game on 40% shooting from three in only 13 games, injury-plagued season for him. What do you think about the market for Trey Mann here?
I'm not sure. I had a feeling that he wouldn't get the qualifying offer just because he missed so much time, and the Hornets backcourt's really crowded now. So I don't know what to say, because if he was healthy and he continued playing the way he did in 24, maybe he could have been looking at getting like $6 to $8 million a year. Now I'm not sure. There's a lot of guards out there. Most teams are pretty set at guard. I mean, wouldn't shock me if he's brought back, if a team could get him on the minimum. Maybe the Hornets maybe they want to consider bringing back as something less, but now I just think there are just too many guards. I don't see that's possible. So, yeah, I think some team is going to luck themselves into Trey Mann at a good rate.
Yeah, very interesting and tough market for him. He hasn't really been able to stick anywhere around the NBA, and so even though he's got that scoring potential, no one really seems to be interested here. So, very interesting market there for Trey Mann. How about one guy who I'm really high on for the Knicks, and I hope they can get lucky enough to sign, and that is Luke Kennard. Your thoughts on Luke Kennard, man, and his potential?
I haven't really looked too much into him. It feels like every year he just gets like a little more than the minimum. He'll like last year they declined his option, gave him like $10 million. Wow, what team did he just finish the year on? I already forgot.
Memphis.
Oh yeah, he did finish the year in Memphis. I'm confused because they almost traded him to Brooklyn. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Luke Kennard is just mostly a regular season guy. Like, if you're gonna bring him in, is it worth it to go above the minimum for him? Right. We're knowing that he might not be playable at all in the playoffs. So yeah, I don't really have too much to say on him. Yeah, it sounds like though somebody might pay him just because he is a specialist at three. Duncan Robinson, whatever he gets will probably help him. Sounds like Duncan Robinson has a floor of getting around like $10 million a year, which was the partial guarantee on his salary this year. Mm-hmm. Sounds like he might either return to the Heat for some amount in that range, or maybe he'll go to the Pistons because now with the Malik Beasley situation, they're gonna have to pivot. So if he's getting like 10 to 12 million, I have to guess then that helps Luke Kennard get more than the minimum, maybe a little less than what he made last year. Yeah. I'm just not too excited about getting Luke Kennard, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. And for the Knicks, like I said, I don't think he's a guy that they'd be willing to go over the second apron for. That's why I think, it could be in a situation where his market bottoms out and they can get him on the minimum, but it'll be tough for somebody with that type of three-point shooting arsenal. We'll have to see what the market looks like there. How about the Boston situation? Al Horford's name has come up with interest for the Knicks. They're talking about Luke Kennard is getting quite some interesting offers. Maybe it's the Spurs. What do you think about Hauser's situation is kind of in flux? What do you think happens with Horford there in Boston?
Hard to say. It's still in flux. They're still trying to save more money. There's reports that they're trying to reroute Simons to another team. I went over on my show so some of those teams might be. It's not a lot, but if they can maybe save another $10 million doing that, then that opens up the possibility maybe they can bring back both guys. I would guess they for sure bring back at least one of them, but I think the goal they're trying to do their best to bring them both back.
Okay, so interesting indeed. All right, so those are some names, some notable names. Lou Sanis in the chat says Al Horford is 40. That pickup does nothing for me. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too crazy about it. Maybe more as a Towns mentor, like Melo was saying on 7 p.m. to Brooklyn. So, let's see what happens there with Al Horford. So to everybody in the chat, man, once again, hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Welcome Cody Brown to the show. He's representing Team #new. And in just a minute here, we're going to get our good fans on the NBA report in the building, man. Salute to everybody watching on the NBA Report. Once again, this is CP the Fanchise. We got Yossi Gozlan in the building. NBA free agency show, or preview show rather, with NBA free agency getting ready to kick off at 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can catch us here live at 6 p.m. as we'll be breaking down and reacting to all of the transactions. And you can also make sure you guys are following Yossi Gozlan on Twitter, as well as he breaks down everything from a salary cap standpoint and where teams stand. Okay, Yossi. Now, yesterday, you got LeBron James stirring things up, stirring the pot up. He opts in to his $52 million deal, player option, where everybody's going crazy. What is LeBron going to do? What's he doing here? What did you make of that, and where the Lakers are going to go with this?
I did the exercise last night. I went through all the teams that I could see them potentially go into, and since he has that no trade clause, he's got ultimate say on what he ends up wanting to do. And I think that $52 million, though, it makes things really difficult. I think it's going to be really hard for him to get traded. And when you look at the teams he would want to go to, like just an example, the Warriors, that's a team he's been linked to. It's tricky. It's going to require a lot of teams, probably requires them sending out Jimmy Butler. The Cavs, that's been the team that everyone's pointing to the most. Yeah. But it would cost them like Garland plus like a combination of Jared Allen and DeAndre Hunter, just so they can then like satisfy the apron rules. I think it's just kind of unrealistic, and especially for a team like the Cavs, like, is it worth trading Garland, who still has like another 9-10 years of being really good, for 1 year, maybe 2 of LeBron? I don't really think that makes sense, and we've seen this before. LeBron putting pressure on the Lakers ahead of free agency. I understand if he's not happy with the way free agency plays out. It seems like they're going to lose Dorian Finney-Smith. Doesn't seem like the big man situation is going to be all that great. Like, maybe they'll get DeAndre Ayton, but to lose Dorian Finney-Smith in the process, I think that'd be a disaster.
Yeah.
I would guess he probably sticks around. And but maybe this is more a warning that this could be his final year with the Lakers.
Yeah, this was Brian Windhorst and the gang on Get Up. Shout out to our guy Bobby Marks. He was on this show as well. This was Brian Windhorst's take on the whole LeBron situation. We'll play it and we'll react to it. Here we go.
It's going to be very difficult to win the West. It's very, very competitive in the Western Conference. But this is not a team that's facing a rebuild, which partially makes Rich Paul's comments confusing.
All right, as I mentioned.
I got to go back a little bit here. Let me go back to Windhorst. So Rich Paul basically, had one of those cryptic LeBron-like messages, basically saying that, we've been partnering with the Lakers for 8 years. We understand that the Lakers are trying to set up for the future. And so, we don't know. Basically, he's kind of cryptic in terms of what the future holds. But here is Brian Windhorst on the Rich Paul comment. Here we go.
Here, help me understand what happened here. He opts in, but the agent's sort of leaving the door open?
Yeah, that's a lot of words, none of which are LeBron is really excited to play for the Lakers in 2025-26 for $53 million. Now, I want to be clear. And I know that a lot of fans are probably thinking about the possibility of LeBron being traded to their team or to another contender. I don't think LeBron James will be traded. I don't think he can be traded. He has a no-trade clause, which means that he would control all sides of a trade, where he would go, what he would get traded for. It's very unlikely that that would happen, regardless of what the options would be. Trading for a $54 million player in the modern era with all the rules is difficult. If you're a contender, trading for him is next to impossible. So I don't think that's what's going on here. I also want to point out that the Lakers were the number 3 seed in the Western Conference last year. They have a strong team. In the next 2 to 3 days, I expect them to add a piece or two to improve their hand. It's going to be very difficult to win the West. It's very, very competitive in the Western Conference. But this is not a team that's facing a rebuild, which partially makes Rich Paul's comments confusing.
All right, so that was Brian Windhorst on ESPN's Get Up with the Gang. I'm with you, man. I think this is much to do about nothing. This is another LeBron, put some pressure, me being in the media, I want some attention. I think this is nonsense. Who in the NBA in their right mind, outside of maybe Dan Gilbert in Cleveland, who loves to trauma bond with LeBron, who in their right mind is trading for a 40-plus-year-old LeBron James at $50 million on their contract? How many players are you going to put together to trade for LeBron James to guarantee you a shot at a championship legitimately? It makes absolutely no sense, man. Maybe it's Cleveland, I don't know. But for everybody else, doesn't make any sense, bro.
Yeah, I think it only makes sense to very, very few teams. If you're trading for LeBron, I think it's a situation where you're not really giving up any value, like any significant long-term value. Like look what the Rockets just gave up to get Kevin Durant. They gave up a couple good players, and then the most valuable thing with the 10th pick. I think it's a little different than LeBron. I don't think he'd have as much value. I think it has to be an opportunistic thing. Like if you're the Spurs and all it costs you is just just contracts like Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, Sohan, something like that. Maybe you just give up some picks that don't really have much value to you. Okay, maybe that could make some sense. Or if you're the Warriors, where it doesn't require you to give up that many players, like they could do it straight up for Jimmy Butler. So that's all you got to weigh. Like, would you rather continue with Jimmy Butler, or do you want to bring in LeBron? So that's another team that kind of makes sense. But everybody else, I'm with you. I don't think he really makes sense to just about any other team at this point, with all the factors considered.
Now, we're Nick. We got Knicks fans watching as well, man. And so here we go again. Now, yesterday, in typical Knicks fan fashion, we're doing some sleuthing here, and you got people out here digging up, unearthing videos of LeBron James out at the sushi bar in New York City at the Fanatics Fest. Maybe he's alluding to wanting to play in New York. Here's a soundbite here with LeBron James. We're going to react to it. Here we go.
Cheers. Here we like it. Hey man, looking at New York. You're shooting this fucking stars next year or so. Hey man, looking at New York. You're shooting his fucking stars next year or so.
All right, so we got people actually redubbing the sound in case you couldn't hear it. Now, if you missed it, he's saying she wants me to retire in a year or so, meaning his wife. And he says, I wouldn't mind looking at you, New York. So now you got the Knicks fans out there throwing the tinfoil hats on, saying, oh, man, now is our chance. Let's go get LeBron. I mean, bro, the Knicks fan has been chasing LeBron James for 18 years. 18 years. Knicks fans, it's over with. Take off the tinfoil hats. Let go of the pipe dream. Let it go, man. We got to let this go, Knicks fans. Come on, man. Let's stop looking into the conspiracy, man. It'd be ridiculous.
And the thing is, in all likelihood, if the Knicks do trade for LeBron, you are losing the value in the trade, because that means that you are either trading Towns straight up for LeBron, who's in Towns, 29, I think almost 30, or you're trading a combination of OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. Even just Mikal Bridges alone, if the Lakers could get him for LeBron straight up, I think that's great value for 41-year-old player. Yeah, he's still a top 10-ish player, but when you look at the next 5 years or so, that's a great player you can pair with Luka. So that's the thing with the Knicks is you can make the case maybe you are slightly increasing your championship odds a little bit by bringing him in, but then you're really decreasing your window. Those next 3 years the Knicks might have with their current plans, that might just get cut down to this year. I don't think that's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, what would a mock trade look like just based on his salary and what the Knicks salary is looking like?
Easiest is just Towns for LeBron straight up, or maybe they do something where it's Mikal, Hart, and Mitchell. But that's too many players. You can then do OG and Mitch, but I don't want to trade OG if I'm the Knicks. I think if you're bringing in LeBron, you really want to keep OG. It's just I just don't like what the roster is going to look like after this.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So I'm saying, somebody in the chat said, don't loop us all into one Knicks fan TV. Okay, I got it. But, some fans are just out there going crazy on this thing. So, we just got to level set. Shout out to Santana. He's a Fanchise channel member. He says he would trade OG to the Lakers for LeBron. I'll let the good people in the chat figure that out. Rate that take. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. Is it tomatoes? Is it fire? What do you guys think? Let me know. You guys let me know, man. Anyway, what else are you looking at here? What else are you thinking about in terms of free agency? Any predictions? We got guys like it's a very lackluster class. Let's just keep it a bean. It's very lackluster. Probably one of the worst.
Yeah, this is a historically weak class. When you look, free agency has changed. It's changed to the point where gone are the days where a LeBron James or Kevin Durant is the best player who leaves in free agency. It's kind of decreased a little bit where in 2020 it was Gordon Hayward, 2021 Kyle Lowry, 2022 Jalen Brunson, who that in hindsight that's a generational free agency signing. This year it's going to be the Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Ty Jerome tier of players. That's going to be the best player. Those are going to be the best players who realistically move teams. So all the excitement is really in the trades and the extensions. I'm still very curious to see what Memphis does, where they're expected to save some money to renegotiate Jaren Jackson Jr. If they can find a taker for Cole Anthony's $13 million salary, they'd open up enough cap space where they can give Jaren the type of extension he'd need. And also open up enough cap space to give Ty Jerome what's the equivalent of the mid-level. Curious to see what Memphis does. Detroit also a cap space team. Now that Malik Beasley's probably not coming back with his situation, and Schroeder sounds like he's not coming back either. They're pivoting the cap space. They're trying to get Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They can offer him a very big 1 or 2 year deal to overpay him on the short term. Very curious to see if they're successful in that. Atlanta, on the flip side, they're also trying to get Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They've got that big trade exception, so they can do a sign and trade. How big are they willing to go on that? Because a contract and a sign and trade has to be for at least 3 years, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker is probably going to need them all guaranteed. So we'll see how aggressive the Hawks are willing to be there. The Lakers, this offseason's not looking good right now. It's shaping up to be bad if the reports are true that Dorian Finney-Smith is just going to walk.
Yeah, what do you make about that? A lot of people saying Rockets maybe for Finney-Smith.
They need even if they come out of it with DeAndre Ayton, I think that's still a disaster. The Lakers need Dorian Finney-Smith. You can resign him. You have his bird rights. What are we doing? So I'm keeping an eye and see what the Lakers are doing.
Yeah, and this is according to Dan Woke Sports. The Lakers are bracing to lose Dorian Finney-Smith in free agency to a multi-year deal with the Rockets. So that sounds like it's about to happen. Says the loss of a valuable wing like Finney-Smith and a beloved teammate will create a void in the perimeter, but his exit will open up a pathway for the Lakers to be aggressive, targeting the top available centers in free agency. But who are we talking here? Are we talking, Turner's most likely going back with the Pacers. So
Turner, yeah.
And
sorry. I thought.
No, I'm just thinking who's really the top available centers for them to pursue in free agency. Forget Ayton. Ayton is just a name right now. The guy hasn't been relevant since he got drafted.
It's just the list is so not inspiring at all. You got Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Al Horford, Bobby Portis can actually still be traded for. It sounds like the contract he signed, it's part of an extension and it's within the extended trade, so he could still be had, but that's probably unlikely.
No way. If you want to keep Giannis, that's another team that's what are they gonna do?
Daron Sharp just resigned with the Nets.
Okay. Yeah, looking bargain basement
slim pickings.
Right now. Slim.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean, because couldn't the Lakers afford to pay him? You said they have his bird rights, so they could afford to pay him what Houston is able to pay him, which is the mid-level, correct?
They can pay him more. Wow. They have his full bird rights. They can, the Rockets, the mid-level, it's 4 for $60. They can give him, they can give him more than that. They can beat it easily. So
yeah,
I don't, if I'm the Lakers right now, I would be like, hey, okay, here's more. I keep him, like deal with it later. Yeah, he's early 30s. I mean, I'm early 30s, so like
Yeah.
I feel that, but I think you got to keep him right now. You're trying to win a championship this year. This is a major step back. Like even if you get DeAndre Ayton, you lose your best defensive wing. Like
Huge.
They
That's
don't
huge.
have many assets to replace that. Like just pay him. Pay him whatever it takes.
That's
not whatever
huge.
it takes, but like within reason.
You know, maybe he's seeing it like, you know, Houston's got a better future. Just give me that 14 mil. I'm good. But that's big. If the Lakers do lose Dorian Finney-Smith. Now, who else is losing? Malik Beasley, ladies and gentlemen. Now, he is losing in a major way because just yesterday, breaking news coming down saying that Malik Beasley is under investigation for part of a federal gambling investigation, according to his lawyer. Now, as we know, just this year, 6 people have been charged by the Eastern District with conspiracy to defraud a sports betting company for their roles in an alleged gambling scheme involving Toronto guard Jontay Porter, who's the brother of Michael Porter Jr. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of wire fraud conspiracy and is awaiting sentencing. He also got banned from the league. It's not clear if the Beasley case is related, but man, oh man, you got him. Terry Rozier got investigated this year, and Jontay Porter is definitely might do some time. That's pretty big, man, and especially for Malik Beasley, who he was due to probably make double digits this year.
Yeah, and when Shams reported the investigation, he said that they were getting close to, he and the Pistons were getting close to 3 years, $42 million.
Wow.
So at this point, no team is probably going to touch him. It's just with the ongoing investigation, and we'll see what comes out of it. Because I mean, if Jontay Porter got banned after being proven when they found it was all true, then yeah, it's possible we might not see Malik play again.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's all alleged right now, you know, just under investigation. You just have to answer some questions. We'll see what happened. But yeah, big news, man, on the eve when he's set to sign a bag. So maybe now that money goes to Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil might hit him up like, hey, thanks, man. Nickeil might get the payday with the Pistons.
Yeah.
Tough.
I mean, Duncan Robinson, it sounds like he's got some options now because of that.
Wow. That opens things up. A $42 million mistake by Malik Beasley. Oof. How the mighty have fallen, man. He had a great year this year. And, not so much. So, all right. That's that, man. Anything else on the free agency front before we wrap, man?
Oh, what else am I looking at? I mean, maybe Miami, they try to sign and trade for Jonathan Kuminga.
Yes.
They can make it happen.
Okay.
I think that's kind of it.
How did you like that that Lonzo for Okoro deal between the Bulls and the Cavs? What'd you think about that?
I like it a little more for the Cavs. I think that's exactly the type of player they need. I think he brings more value.
Me too.
As a point of attack defender than paying Ty Jerome more money when you already have Donovan Mitchell and Garland making the max. Like once, assuming they're all healthy and in a playoff series, Jerome's doesn't really make as much sense to pay Jerome that much money when he's not going to be playing that much. So I like that they brought in Lonzo. I just wish the Bulls got a little more value on that because Lonzo has a team option for next year, so they're giving the Cavs a lot of savings in the future if they need to decline that. If they got a couple seconds, I think that would have been like fair compensation for that. Otherwise, yeah, I don't like it as much for the Bulls.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And, someone had an interesting graphic. It was like, the Bulls traded Levine, DeRozan, Caruso, and Lonzo and didn't get one first-round pick out of the deal. That's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. Yeah. That's kind of tough. So who knows what the hell the Bulls are doing. Good luck with Okoro bricking left, right, and center. But we'll see. How about Giddey? What do you think about Josh Giddey, man? What do you think he does?
He'll be back with the Bulls. I would be surprised if he doesn't. I think it's just a matter of what are the Bulls how are they trying to play this? Are they trying to let him test the market so they can get him as low as possible? Because now we're about to enter the period where teams can start negotiating with other teams. I would guess he ends up with the Bulls. It's just a big question of what number.
Yeah. Interesting indeed. And then let's get to the phones. Let's get to a phone call in real quick before we wrap. Dan from New Jersey. Dan, go ahead and unmute your mic. Do we have Dan? Dan, are you there? Going once? All right, Dan is shell-shocked here. Okay. Dan going twice. All right, we'll let Dan go. Yossi, man, where can the people find you tonight for free agency, man?
Twitter, Blue Sky, my name, Yossi Gozlan, reacting to all the moves with instant salary cap analysis. And I will probably be streaming during free agency. Nothing crazy, I'll just be on, talking about what's going on. So a little bit more reaction there so that's on YouTube at the Third Apron podcast.
There you go. Let me try Dan one more time. Dan, are you there? One more time, Dan from New Jersey. Okay. All right. I don't know what's happening to Dan. Let me get... Oh, okay. We got LD on the chat. LD, are you there? LD on the Discord. Dan on the Discord.
Look.
Yeah, okay. LD, go ahead.
Goody.
How you doing?
Quick question.
Yep.
I'm good. What's up with the Vegas? Y'all still going?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. We are just... We're locking down the venue. Yossi's going to be there. I'll be there. We're just locking down the venue and the date. But the Knicks fan meetup is either going to be on the 12th or the 13th. But Vegas is a guarantee for sure.
Gotcha. Y'all going to put up like the information on Twitter and stuff like that?
No question. Yeah, soon. Hopefully in the coming days. We're just waiting to finalize the details.
And then by that time, will LeBron James be a Knick already, or is that a week later?
I sure hope not. I sure hope not, man.
Why don't you like that idea, though?
It's been 18 years. I can't stop saying that. I had nightmares last night. I said 18. It took me back to the decision. 2007. I couldn't sleep that night. I legitimately could not sleep.
I feel you. But remember last week I called and I said, this was before KD got traded to the Houston Rockets. Yeah. I said, I don't see him. I don't see it happening this offseason, but I see him retiring a Knick.
Yeah.
It kind of relates to what I think LeBron James could be thinking if he does decide to get traded. The only legacy play left for these dudes is the Knicks. If you can win a championship with the Knicks, that's a whole different conversation. So I think that is what these players will be focusing on going forward. I don't know how they will end up here, but I have a feeling folks are looking at the Knicks like, yo, this is a legacy play. You know what I mean? But I think, by the time we meet up in Vegas, congratulations, bro, LeBron James.
Hey, never say never, man, but I really hope not, man. Let's get a coach. Let's get a coach first, man.
I got you. I'll holla, bro.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Rate that call in the chat, man. Good people in the chat. This is your show. Rate that call in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. That's LD. He's been having some good takes as of late. I think he just threw that out there just to, reset the mojo. Chat is lighting him up right now. All right, Dan, we're going to try you one more time. It's the third time the charm. I don't know. Dan keeps dropping out of the Discord. Dan, can you hear us? Yes or no? Okay. I think Dan is having some trouble with his Discord, so we'll drop him out. As Yossi said, you guys know where to find him. And, hey, we'll be back 6 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time, NBA free agency show. Hey, does Mikal Bridges get a new deal? Do the Knicks make a trade? Or the Knicks vet minimum is going to be announced tonight? Keep it locked here, Knicks Fan TV. Salute to Rob Letts. Team hashtag new. Salute to you, Rob. We definitely appreciate you tapping in. And, Yossi, thanks again for joining us, man.
Anytime, CP. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. All right, man. That was our guy, Yossi Gozlan, in the building. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Salute, man. Feeling this new backdrop, man. I made some tweaks to the camera. I was working over the weekend. I was like, I've had this new camera for a while, but I never really mess with the settings too much. I was like, let me mess with the settings a little bit. I like how it's looking, man. I got my my Captain Clutch. I just added Captain Clutch to the wall there. It's a nice little addition. I moved Bernard right on the mellow underneath there. And then, on the left-hand side, we got the legends. Clyde, rest in peace to the late, great Dr. Barnett, and Earl the Pearl. All autographed. Clyde the Pearl Barnett. Then we got the Clyde jersey autographed as well. There's good stuff there that we add into the wall. All right. Like I said, make sure you guys are checking out the Knicks Fan TV sale, 30% off site-wide, man. So you can't miss it. Make sure you guys are doing that for sure. Hope everybody is enjoying their Monday. I don't know what's going to happen free agency, man. It's looking very, very lackluster. But you never know. This is probably one of the worst class I've ever seen. So we'll see if Leon can get the job done. And speaking of jobs, man, I want to salute one of the sponsors of today's show. That is LinkedIn Jobs. If you guys are looking to hire the next best talent for your company, if you have a small to medium-sized business and you're looking to hire, check out LinkedIn Jobs. You can post your job listing for free by going to linkedin.com/KnicksFanTV. And the two things that I like about LinkedIn Jobs is, number one, the job portal is very easy to use, very intuitive, and you're able to find the talent to source for your interviews quite easily. Number two, one of the best things is that LinkedIn is a social network, so that when you put out there that you're looking for talent and you can post your job, the people in your network can see it, they can share it to their network, and you never know. Before you know it, your job listing is in front of thousands and thousands of people. So that's what I like the most about LinkedIn Jobs. We've been able to find some top talent here at Knicks Fan TV through LinkedIn Jobs. Prior to even starting Knicks Fan TV, I was on LinkedIn Jobs, and I was able to get interviews when I was back in the corporate America days. So it works. It works very well. And like I said, you can post your job listing for free by going to KnicksFanTV.com, by going to LinkedIn.com, /KnicksFanTV. Okay? All right, man. So, great show. We'll take a break here. See you guys at 6 p.m. for the free agency show. And we'll see what the Knicks do, right? All right, man. You guys have a good day. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy your grind. Get on the grind. Like I am. And we'll see you guys later on tonight.